What do you get when you mix a health coach and a wellness coach mixed with a lot of curiosity? You get two people who ask a lot of questions about health and wellness. Today we ask, what are grains and should we be eating them?
There is so much information about grains, and it seems they have become the new villain, but are they really? Let's get started as we ask.
Wait, what?
Hi, Leah.
Hi, Kamna.
Okay, before we get into anything, we have to talk about your eye.
Oh my gosh. Oh yes. So, but I had a thinking moment while we were doing the intro.
Okay, go ahead.
And I was, you know how like for like 3 weeks, I swear to you guys, I've been talking about how my face is so puffy and I use my roller and everything. Like, and now look at me. So what Kamna is referring to is Tuesday, Wednesday, middle of the night, 1 o'clock in the morning, I got up in the middle of the night and tripped over my dog and smashed my face pretty good. My right eye has 7 stitches above it, and my ear, if anybody's watching this, my ear is split from like the top to almost the bottom.
Oh my gosh.
That is glued. They couldn't stitch that part. They had to glue that part. So, but talk about puffy. And I tried to use the roller on this side and it hurt. So I was like, forget it. I'm just going to look puffy right now and deal with it. And it's not as bad as it was, or it could have been. So I'll just have a nice scar on my face and we'll be okay.
Maybe maybe
okay
you're one of those lucky people. Yeah, that's the funniest part of the whole story. Your dog was laying there, fast asleep.
When I got home, he was laying on his back on the couch, snoring, belly in the air, just like nothing in the world had happened. It was crazy.
That's so funny. I am glad you were okay.
I still have some lingering things going on, but for the most part, like, it could have been so much worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I broke my nose. I didn't. I thought my eye socket might have been damaged. That wasn't. I also split my lip. Luckily, that didn't need anything. So, I mean, overall, I'm very lucky. Very, very lucky. I can handle with the puffiness and the bruising.
I'm glad. I'm really glad.
Yeah. So, anyway, that was my update.
How was your call to action, or did you not do it then?
My call to action was 2 vegetables, 2 fruits, and I really truly didn't. I also hurt my jaw in the process, so I've been eating like softer foods and stuff.
Oh.
So, I mean, I attempted when I could, but I think the actual day I did it, which would have been like that Wednesday and that Thursday, I didn't focus on anything except laying down with ice.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Not a good week to try that, but I did great the days before.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's good. But that's fair. You need rest now, and it's maybe not.
I didn't even want to cut things or figure out crunchy vegetables, or I just was like, forget it. So. How was yours?
Mine was to use a smaller dish or a smaller plate.
Okay.
And I'm not really sure why I picked that as my call to action, because I don't use a big plate, and I use a very small bowl for my snack already. And I use a small plate for my breakfast. I don't know what I was trying to do by saying that. So in the middle of the week, I was like, wait a minute, I'm not using anything smaller. I need to revamp my CTA.
Okay. I love that you did that.
I was just, I just was slowing down, and I would ask myself, okay, do I still want more? Do I still want more? And then I would pause, and then I would go back, and then if I was done, I was just done. But where it really showed up, and I don't want to admit this, but I'm going to. Okay. Friday night, my husband and I went out to dinner, and afterwards, he always asks me, "Do you want to go for dessert?" And I always say no, because I'm trying to be good, in quotes,
quote unquote.
But that night, I was like, I kind of want dessert. I kind of want something indulgent. He's like, where do you want to go? And there's no place to go. And everything closes at like 9 o'clock
for desserts, except ice cream, no.
No. So yeah, that's where we went. We went to get ice cream. I was like, oh, it doesn't close until 10. So I wanted to get like a kiddie scoop because I really wanted less. And I know I'm trying to avoid dairy, just trying to figure that whole piece out. I wanted a sundae, and they don't do any less than 3 scoops.
That's
in a sundae. Yes. So I was standing there sort of negotiating with myself out loud, and my husband's like, just get it. You can eat half of it tomorrow, which is, he's a bad influence on me.
I know, but that's what I would have said to you too.
So I got the giant sundae, and it doesn't look like 3 scoops, and that's very misleading. I'm
Does it
like,
look
this
like
doesn't
more or less?
it looks like 2 scoops.
Okay.
And that's bad enough for me, but I was
Right.
like, this is very, for someone looking at it, you don't think you're eating 3 scoops. So
Oh,
it
that's
can
a
be
great.
very like, oh, I'm not eating
So
that
you're like, oh,
much.
it's really not 3 scoops. They lie. And then you put
Yeah.
only 2 scoops down.
Yeah.
Mm. Did you eat it
And
all?
I ate half of it, and it did not scratch the itch,
Oh
which
no?
is sad for me.
Dad.
I think the more I get away from it, the less I have a taste for it.
Okay.
It
For ice
the
cream or
ice
just. Oh,
That particular ice cream, it just tasted artificial. It tasted,
really?
I don't know, it didn't taste good to me. And I still
Hmm.
ate it. That's my problem. I have to figure that out. But I then a second day, I was like, I'm not going to eat it, and then I finished the second half of it. But I
Okay.
did break it up into 2 portions.
Okay. That's a good. I just did that with my acai bowl place reopened for the season,
Oh
and
yeah,
I did the same thing. I wanted to eat all of it as I was eating it, and then I'm like,
yeah.
but I'm gonna want it tomorrow too.
Mm,
So that's what got me to stop this time. I'm like, yeah, but then you can have it tomorrow because I
yeah.
love them so much. I
What do you
love
get
them.
in your
I
acai?
tried a new one this time. It was like passion fruit drizzle on it, but it was pineapple and kiwi, and then passion fruit drizzle with coconut, and then the acai, and then granola. Oh my God, it's just so good.
It
But
sounds so good.
but it's doable. I think you and I can
Hmm.
do it. Anybody can eat half.
Yeah, and I think the other takeaway for me was to really understand what the portion is,
Yeah,
or the serving is. The serving was a lot more than I had thought.
yeah, it's a good point. Yeah,
Anyway,
servings are crazy, which was our topic last week.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So,
So,
all
what are
right.
you loving this week?
All right, so I started loving this like last week. And actually this week it worked out really good because it's a video on YouTube. It's a free video. It's a
Hmm.
5-minute walking workout. Okay? I love
Okay.
it. This is how I discovered it. I typed in 5-minute walking, no jumping. Because I don't
Okay.
want to jump, you guys.
Right.
I don't want to jump. I'm going to be totally out there. I pee my pants every time I jump. I'm not jumping. And for some reason, I don't have bad knees, but every time I do an exercise that involves a jumping of some sort, my knee hurts.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing that. So I put 5-minute walking, no jumping. And this person came up. Her name is Lucy, Lucy, Windham Read, like reading a book. I'll
Hmm.
get you the information so you can put it in the show notes.
Okay.
She's great. She's absolutely great. I love how her setup is. So that's important to me too. Like sometimes I want to see like how much longer I have to do the step that I'm doing right now. And she
Right.
does that like there's like a timer corner that on the corner that does it. It's 5 minutes and I feel like I'm getting something out of it.
Oh, nice.
And so far I like all of her videos that I've done, but I particularly like the 5-minute walking workout. I can fit it in anywhere.
What a great tip.
Lucy Windham Reed, 5-minute walking. She's
Because
an
sometimes,
ex-army person, I believe.
oh,
So she's got like, I'm trying to pull her up right now, but her bio on Instagram is pretty cool.
so when you
Anyway,
find somebody like this, do you do a deep dive into who they are and what they are?
yeah,
And
I started doing that. Well, I didn't at first because I was like, it's just a fluke that I like
hmm.
her. But no, I really do. She's a ex-army qualified trainer with 25 years experience. So for 5 minutes, I feel like anybody can do these videos for five
Yeah.
minutes. I also hit it as like my favorite when I did the YouTube so that I could just go on my favorites list and pull it right back up.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So, but I don't know too much about her besides I like her YouTube videos. I'm going to do a deeper dive this week and maybe next week about some of the other stuff.
And sometimes that's what it is about the chemistry between you and whatever you're watching or doing.
Mm-hmm.
You want it to be engaging. You want it to be like the person that you're watching because then you're
Mm-hmm.
likely to do more. I think that's a
Yeah.
great tip.
She also does like a pajama workout and stuff like that. So like in
What?
other words, like just like you can walk. You don't have to have. I think I did the 5-minute walking one day in my slippers. Like it's not crazy, you know.
Wow.
So
That's
and I
a
did it.
great
You
tip.
can do it with a smashed face because it's not that intense. Because I did that.
Because you didn't have to jump.
Yeah, and there's not like it wasn't like some exercise videos are intense and you're bending. I can't bend over right now, can get the pressure in my head, and I can't do other things. So this is perfect.
That is fantastic.
Yeah,
I
try
like
it,
it because you
guys.
could even do it in the middle of the day and you don't have to get real sweaty
Oh
and you
my
could
God,
just,
no! I could, you could do it. I think I folded laundry and then I put it on like immediately after, or I actually did it one morning before I went for work because I'm like five
oh,
minutes. It's 5 minutes.
fantastic.
So yeah,
That's a
good. Try
great
it
tip.
out. I hope you guys like it. Let me know if you do. I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll post it and share it on my on our page.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So, all right.
So you came up with the idea to talk about grains. Do you have questions about
Well, I did.
grains?
So my main thing with grains is I was kind of just like, should we eat them or should we not eat them? Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
so sick of people saying I'm giving up carbs. And to me, like, there are some carbs that are not like, I mean, I hate to use the word good and bad, but like, are there bad ones? Are there good ones? Like, why should I not eat a sweet potato when everybody tells me they're good for you?
Right.
Why should
I
I not eat things? You know, go on.
I think it's even more confusing when it comes to grains because
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, cut out wheat or cut out all flours," or like it becomes a really big. It is becoming a villain.
It's like so hard to understand it all. Like I just don't
Mm-hmm.
get it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm hoping you clarify it more for me because you did a deep dive in this topic. So,
Well, I had a lot of random questions. I'm just going to say it off the bat. And so I just went down and answering one question after another.
but here's the thing, they are good for you. And I think
Yeah.
everybody needs to know that. They're good
Right.
for you,
Yes.
right? So they
Yes.
help regulate your bowels,
Mm-hmm. That's a
right?
big one. So many
Yes.
people are constipated now. It's because we're eliminating so many things from our diet.
And that is the one thing that we're eliminating. I think it's also important to point out that we're talking about whole grains,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're not talking
Yes.
about white bread.
Right.
So that's
Right.
where it gets confusing. So when I read these benefits, I think everybody needs to remember I'm not talking about like a Schwabel's white loaf of bread or
Right.
another white loaf or white pasta. All right. Lowers your heart risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes. It slows the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream
Mm-hmm.
and you feel fuller.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what
those are
fiber
just
does.
some, those are just some benefits of it.
Mm-hmm.
What did you come up find?
Well, I mean, it was the same thing, but what I was interested in is there's two types, the whole
Mm-hmm.
grains and the refined grains. And I had a Leah question in my head, like, what is a refined grain? What
Right.
is that?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was interesting because it's just been milled so that it removes the bran and the germ from the wheat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's to give it a finer texture and a longer shelf life.
Yep.
To me, that was like a red
Me too.
flag.
Wait, and how about why didn't I realize that before? Like I felt so stupid when I found that. I was like, why didn't I realize that a refined grain is literally taking the good grain and refining it 100 million trillion times and removing all of the good stuff out of it. Like it removes the minerals, the vitamins, the bran, the fiber, which you said, but it's like, God, we did that.
Yeah.
Humans did that. We took something
Yeah.
so good for you and removed all of the good stuff in it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And
Anyway.
if you really think about it, it's because it enhances it. I don't know what it is exactly, the ingredient, but to me, if you're eating a sandwich with white bread, it tastes amazing. If you eat a sandwich
Mm-hmm.
with wheat bread, maybe the flavor profile is different. I like wheat bread. I liked wheat bread,
Mm-hmm.
but to me, the taste is different. And maybe
It
it's the
is different.
sugar and maybe it's the additives. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. So we got to remember that bread also, we're just using bread as an example. Like they also take stuff out of it, but they also put stuff in to make it taste good too. So they're
Yes,
once
yes.
removing, so not only are manufacturers removing all of the good stuff, they're also putting more crap in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah,
even worse. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So
What I was reading
anyway,
was refined grains should be enriched. So if you see that enriched with whatever, and that is adding back certain B vitamins like thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, and folic acid, and it adds iron. But however, fiber is not added back.
why?
I don't
So
know.
if they enrich refined grains, they're not putting some of the stuff back.
The fiber is definitely gone.
That's crazy to me. Why?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Don't you wonder that? Anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
stupid. Okay, so wait. So I went down a little bit of a different rabbit hole than you. I went down like, why do we refine? Like, what are the
Oh,
reasons? Like, why did this start? Right.
good
So,
question.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it started, like you said, to improve the texture. What it does is it makes things softer. So
Yeah.
they're not so coarse, and when you bite into something, it's got a softer texture. The longer shelf life, which means that the bran and the germ actually contain oils in them,
Okay.
and the oils go rancid over time. So by breaking it down, they
Okay.
removed the bran and the germ, and then that removed any of the natural occurring oils, which makes it go rancid. Which made sense to me. Like,
Wow.
of course, they want longer shelf life, so they needed to figure out a way to remove that. They did it, but now it's not good for you. And
Right.
then the last part was it was considered wealthy. It was a status thing. Only
Oh,
the wealthy had the refined flours and the refined goods back
wow.
when they started refining it.
Isn't that funny? I mean, I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but the people
I know where you're
who were
going with.
like, yeah, like the people who were like the average person, they ate all the regular stuff, which was actually better, and the people who
Mm-hmm.
were bougie and fancy,
Mm-hmm.
they ate the stuff that wasn't good for you.
Mm-hmm. And now it's
The
kind of like opposite. Now, like it's expensive to buy the whole
mm-hmm.
grains, and it's cheaper to buy
Yep.
the. It's like history totally flopped. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes.
So,
Very good point.
and I think that grains get a bad rap because I think grains are associated with white grains. Don't you think?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that when you say grains, people are thinking of white grains. They're not thinking of some of the like the bulgur and the quinoa and the
Right.
rices and all of the different types there are.
Right.
So,
Right. That's
anyway,
fascinating. So I also looked up how much do you need.
okay, how much do I need?
So it depends on your all your stats, like your age, sex, your height, weight, physical activity. But on average, you need 3 servings a day, which
Okay.
is about 48 grams.
Okay, I don't know how much that is, but all right.
I mean, that's a fair amount.
Okay.
Most people eat enough total grain foods and not enough whole grains, and they eat too much refined grains.
I believe those. Don't you think that? For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was a different article, but an ounce equivalent is 1 slice of bread,
Oh, okay.
one
That's one
cup of
serving?
that's an ounce. I don't know roughly how much it translates to in
Okay.
grams. I should know this, but I don't.
Me neither.
1 cup of ready to eat cereal and half a cup of cooked rice or cooked pasta or cooked cereal.
Okay. I need to find a good pasta. That's my next mission.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's going to be my next mission. That might be my call. Actually, that's my call to action right now. Sorry.
Okay.
I know we're skipping ahead. Go on.
um the word grains covers 7 major types. Can you guess what they are?
Pasta?
No. Seven
What do you
types of
mean?
grains. The
What do you
first
mean?
one
Like,
is corn.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so corn, millet.
No.
Okay, then no, I don't know.
Corn, wheat, rice, barley, sorghum, oats, and rye. And that's in order of production.
So what do you mean? Those are the only grains that are out there?
There are the 7 major types.
Oh, the
There are
seven major
definitely.
ones. Okay.
Yeah.
There are more than that. Okay.
Global production surpasses 2.5 billion tons.
What's sorghum?
It's a type of flour.
Is it good?
I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily have had sorghum. I don't think I like it because I've had sorghum noodles and
I
it's
wonder
not
what country is it big in?
that I don't know. Probably Asian countries, I would say more
Hmm,
than here. Because I've seen sorghum noodles. I know.
that's interesting. I don't think I've ever even heard of it. Anyway, I'm gonna research that now. I'm on a. Anyway, go
Okay,
on.
I have a bunch of randomness right now
Okay, good,
coming at
good,
you.
good.
Are you ready for
I'm
it?
ready for all random.
Okay. Did you know that wild rice isn't rice at all?
What? What do you mean?
Yeah. Wild rice is the seed of an aquatic grass. So it grows in a similar type of scenario.
In a watery
And
grass?
yeah, it's a seed
Okay.
of a watery grass and it looks like rice and it cooks similar to rice. It takes longer to cook it, but that's why they call it wild rice. And if you called it like an aquatic seed or whatever, it wouldn't be as sexy of a name.
But is
So,
it considered a grain? Because it's a
yes,
seed?
yes.
It's not rice.
Well, grains are seeds from grass-like plants. That's what a
Oh
grain
my
is,
God.
technically.
Okay. All right. I love wild rice.
Do you?
I do.
It's
It's so
very
good.
nutty.
Okay. Probably,
I don't
yeah.
know. What do you think? How would you describe it?
I think it's a different texture. It's like chewier or something.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
And it
Okay.
takes a long time to cook. That's what I've noticed.
Okay.
Did you know that wheat can also be used for paper, hair conditioner, and even stamps?
What do you no. Hair conditioner?
Hair conditioner.
So if you're gluten sensitivity, you got to make sure there's no wheat in your stuff.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
My goodness. What's it called on the label, I wonder? Gotta write that down.
I don't know about that, but if you have celiacs, for example, or you're avoiding the grains, you probably want to look for something that is certified gluten-free.
But I
And
don't
that can
even
be any
think
kind
I
of
ever
product.
thought of shampoo having gluten in it.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
I was
Oh my
surprised by that.
God.
All right, there are some naturally occurring gluten-free grains. I'm sure you found the same list.
What
Amaranth,
do you mean?
they're
Naturally
naturally
occurring.
gluten-free.
Oh,
That like
naturally
they
gluten free, you
grow
mean?
like that and then they're naturally gluten-free. So
Okay.
if you're avoiding gluten, you can have them.
What are
Amaranth,
they?
buckwheat, corn, millet, one you said, quinoa, rice, wild rice, sorghum, something called teef. I've never heard of that. Or teff, oats. Oats are interesting because they're naturally gluten free, but the processing makes them contaminated.
So they
Isn't
are
that interesting?
not gluten free?
Well, if you get like the regular Quaker oats, they're contaminated with gluten. So if you're avoiding gluten, don't eat buy that. Buy the certified gluten free.
Jeez, oh man. Okay. All right.
Okay, then I went to can I eat raw flour? Because I know they always say cook it before you make it or don't
Go
eat
on.
it or you're gonna get
Like, don't eat
sick.
bread dough. I love eating dough. Bread dough.
Yeah, or
Raw.
cookie
Love
dough
it. Yeah.
or something that has like a raw element. It says cook the flour first.
Right.
The reason why is that raw flour can contain harmful bacteria such as Salmonella and E. coli.
Can?
Yeah, and it
I
can
don't
lead
think
to
I knew that.
nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. I'm having some trouble speaking today.
Because you're feeling bad for me in my face.
No, I'm just like, this is so overwhelming, honestly. Nut flours like almond flour, coconut flour are generally safe to eat raw.
Okay, but those aren't to be considered grains.
No,
So grain flour is the stuff that you can't, that is more, I'm not going to say sickly, but maybe goes bad.
right.
I have heard people say that like they've been in so and so's house and they've seen little bugs in their flour
Oh
if they don't use flour often.
my goodness.
Mm.
So
By the
I
way,
I
nobody I know, but I've heard people say, "Oh, I was at, you know,
so I was reading about that. I'm like, can grain spoil? Because I know that I've had flour and it just smelled funny.
yeah,
And so I looked that up and it can spoil if it's not stored properly. If there's high humidity, so 14 to 15% humidity can make
okay,
the grain spoil. If there's warm temperature, so if you're in an apartment typically,
okay,
it can spoil quicker. If it's exposed to light and if there's pests like you were talking about.
okay." So it is true.
Yeah.
It is true. Okay. Hmm.
And I think the ones that last forever and ever, I don't think they're good for your body.
Well, that's because they take all the good stuff out and it's nothing but
Hmm.
chemicals then.
Yeah.
Have you ever made a cake with whole wheat flour?
I have. I made banana bread with it.
Is it good?
It is really good. I've used it I made homemade pita, and
Really?
I've used the whole wheat flour. It tastes fantastic.
So it's really doesn't really taste that different to you?
No, I love it. I actually like it because it has a more interesting flavor, especially if you're making it at home. The banana bread, you couldn't tell at all.
Hmm.
Not even a
So
little
I
bit.
wonder, like, if you wanted to slowly transition from like white flour to whole grain flour, could you do
Hmm.
half and half and mix it up in the container, in the
Well, that's what
bag?
I've done in my banana bread. Calls for 2 cups of all-purpose flour.
Okay.
And so I started substituting because I'm like, let me see if it makes any difference in taste. So I did half all-purpose and half whole wheat. And
Okay.
then I transitioned from a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour and then a 1/4 cup of, or half a cup, whatever it was, of
Right.
oats and whole wheat flour. Because I just wanted to
Hmm.
bump up the fiber content. You can't tell any difference at all.
Okay. So it's something to think about. Like if we're trying to look at different ways to swap
Mm.
out processed stuff in our life, like that's a great place
Yeah.
to start.
Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay, one more question. And I don't know if you know the answer to this. If I take my oats and I
Hmm.
grind them up in my food processor, is that oat flour?
Yeah.
So then I could just use that in place of where I'm using flour?
Yeah.
Have you ever made chocolate chip cookies with it?
I've eaten them with oat flour.
Are they
I
good?
haven't made them. Their texture's a little different, but it's tasty. I mean, the chocolate can make anything better.
I know. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I might have to try that then. Okay, it's good to
So
know.
then I went to, how do you know if you're sensitive to gluten?
Do you have a rash on your head?
Sometimes
I know, I'm sure I do.
bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation, nausea, headaches, brain fog, joint pain, neuropathy, fatigue, abdominal pain, and depression are all symptoms if you could be gluten free. I want to tell you a story real quick. Okay. And
Okay.
I've said this before, maybe at other places, but just quick. If someone relates to this, I think it could be beneficial. So, for probably my whole life until I was about 50, maybe,
Mhm.
I always had these stomach aches, and I was either had constipation or diarrhea, and it was a mess. And then before my periods, I would have days of diarrhea, and it was just a miserable wreck. My stomach was awful. And I
Okay.
went to so many doctors, and then one doctor's like, maybe you need some Prozac, because I think they thought it was all in my head.
Because you're.
Yeah, I'm crazy. I'm just making this up that I have stomach aches. And then one of the doctors said, let's do a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. So both at the
Both
same
set.
time. And then it came out that I was gluten sensitive.
Oh,
And I was shocked. I was shocked. So then for like 2 weeks, I'm like, I'm going to eliminate all gluten. And I felt better. I was going to the bathroom regularly. My bloating was gone down. And then someone said to me, a little bit can't hurt you. Have a little bit. And then as soon as you reintroduce it, you're like back to square one. And that's happened to me periodically. I go gluten free and then occasionally I'll have something and then I feel like I'm back to square one. But when I don't eat it, it's also eliminated. I have had this nagging cough for my whole life. When I am on gluten free, the cough is gone.
really? So that isn't dairy related, your cough.
No, it's grain gluten related. Isn't that crazy?
It's so crazy.
So
But there's
I
so
just
many
wanted,
alternatives that you can do. It just requires work. You know what I
so
mean?
that's
Like,
where I went next.
okay, go ahead. I'm excited.
I like that you're following my flow. So, gluten free flours are usually made up of rice flour, corn flour, potato flour, tapioca flour, almond flour, coconut flour, and sorghum flour.
Hmm. Okay. But that, again, you have to make the stuff.
What do you mean?
Like, if I want to make a pizza, I got to make the dough with that.
Yeah, there's some really good gluten free crust out there too.
Yeah, but yeah, that, then you're getting into how processed are they?
Yes, that's a very
You
good
know what I
question.
mean?
That's a very good question.
Because so much gluten-free stuff, you scan it or you read the chemical, and there's like nothing but chemicals in it.
Yeah.
So it's really hard, don't you think?
Yes, they do add a lot of stuff to make it taste good.
Yeah.
But there are several types that are pretty good and less processed. They don't taste the same, but
Mm-hmm.
like Banza is one of those that has a chickpea crust. I think it's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
good.
Is it
And
good?
it's only chickpeas and water and salt or something.
And they have good pizza crust?
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
And I think I found that one at Walmart. Pretty good.
That's good to know. Probably
Okay,
better
so
for you too.
can you guess
Okay.
where I went next?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, you're gonna not be surprised. So then I was like, okay, you hear all about glyphosate, and why is it?
I don't even know what that is.
So glyphosate is a herbicide like Roundup and
Oh,
some
yeah, yeah,
other,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, what's the deal with glyphosate and grains? Why is that a thing here in the U.S.? Glyphosate is an herbicide used to control weeds and ripen grain crops. So if they can have a faster turnaround
They
for
want
the
it.
grains, they want it in there. It's found in grains like wheat, oats, and barley.
So it's literally chemicals.
Some research suggests that glyphosate residues on food can cause dysbiosis, which means like your bad bacteria is overgrown from your good, which causes
Oh.
all the stomach problems.
But that would be in all grains, not just gluten. In
Right,
some.
right. Well, the ones I mentioned as
And the FDA
more.
allows that, I'm assuming.
At a certain level, it's all fine.
Oh, okay, good. That's good to know.
Genetically modified soybeans and corn are engineered to survive applications of glyphosate. So they spray the glyphosate and then they created the corn and the soybeans to be resistant to the glyphosate, but they've modified the original biology of those two items, the two grains, or soybeans not a grain, but those two items to resist it. And that it's crazy what they're doing to our foods.
It is. Oh my gosh.
Here's another random fact.
Okay.
Glyphosate is often associated with an increased risk of gluten intolerance and celiac disease.
Really?
So
So
some people,
maybe,
when they,
yeah, maybe you almost have like glyphosate poisoning if
mm-hmm,
you're eating it too much. Maybe it's not even the gluten.
yes, a lot of people say when they go to Europe they don't have these problems because it's not allowed there.
Oh, so if you're gluten sensitive here, it might not be the gluten, it might be the glyphosate.
Right,
Just like
right,
red dye in food, it's not some of the food, it's the dye that's in the food. It's the
yes.
same thing with the glyphosate. Basically, we just can't eat anything anymore.
I know.
I mean, what the heck? No. Oh my
Seriously.
gosh.
So
Well,
then,
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, I have one more thing, random
Okay.
fact to tell you.
Okay.
So, some studies have shown that there's a strong link between gluten intolerance and Hashimoto's disease, which is an autoimmune disease. That it's a thyroid disease, but it's a
Yes.
specific one. Gluten is a molecular structure that closely resembles the thyroid tissue, so your body starts attacking the thyroid, which causes the thyroid disease if you have Hashimoto's.
So you shouldn't have gluten if you have Hashimoto's.
That's the new wisdom.
Research. Hmm. That's good to know. That's really good to know if somebody suggests that or says that
Mm-hmm.
they have it like to first line of defense is to maybe try and eliminate gluten.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I have one more thing.
Oh, please.
All right. So I started looking at like, so should we eat grains? And I found the brain docs. They're on Instagram, and I
Okay.
accidentally found them. I really thought they were pretty cool. They did a study, and the details are on their Instagram page if you want to find it, like how many people and how they did it over 12-year period. But listen to this. Whole grains are one of the healthiest food for your brain. Those who had 2 servings a day lowered their risk of dementia by 34%.
No.
And if you had 2 servings a day, you lowered your risk of Alzheimer's by 40%.
What?
So it's something that you should not be getting rid of in your diet. It's just making sure you're choosing the correct whole grains and you're not choosing the refined ones.
Yes.
Isn't
Wow,
that fascinating?
that's a
So,
staggering number.
yeah, and I didn't want to bore everybody with reading like the whole study on it, but if you're want more interesting, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. It was the Brain Docs on Instagram.
That's
It was really
fascinating to
interesting.
me.
It was really interesting
Yeah.
about how many they followed him for like 12.6 years or something crazy like that. So it wasn't
Hmm.
just like a let's just do it. It was a legitimate study.
Wow.
Yeah. So don't give up your carbs.
Yeah.
Be
This is
be
true. Eat
choosy
the
with
right
them. Be
ones.
picky with
Yes.
them. Eat the right ones. Yes.
Exactly.
So,
Wow. Good. So do you have a call to action for this week? Oh, you do.
yeah,
You said it.
I'm gonna find a whole grain pasta that I like.
Okay. So
What
I have
about
a
you?
question for you because no, before we say mine, this is my question. Sometimes when I'm trying things and then I buy the full thing because you can't buy
Yeah.
little small bags,
Yeah, it's
what do you
stupid.
do if you don't like it?
I usually give it to my mom or my sister.
Okay.
Because one of them will usually like it.
Okay.
What do you do?
Don't do anything. I leave it in my pantry until it spoils and then I have to throw it away, which is not the best thing.
We need to have like a meetup, like a food swap.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Bring all of the food you didn't like, but other people might,
Yeah, I like this.
right? I mean, because sometimes or that you did like, but you're never gonna eat all of it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and if it's open, you can't really donate it.
No, no, you can't.
Yeah.
But yes, somebody usually likes it. Or I'm always asking people, "Do you want to try this?" I didn't really like it, but
That's not a good selling point, though. I
no,
don't
but
really
I'm
like
being
it, but
honest.
yeah,
You
that's
know?
true. That's true.
So what about you? What is your
My
call to
call to
action?
action is I'm going to be traveling a little bit this week. So I'm going to keep it really simple for myself.
Okay.
I'm going to just focus on vegetables.
Okay.
I'm going to make sure that I eat a salad or some kind of vegetable at least twice a day in the day, lunch and dinner.
Okay. That's a good one.
Simple. Yeah.
Twice a day. I like that for
Yep.
you. Okay. You can do that.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
so.
so. All right. Great. Have a good
Hi.
week.
You too.
Safe travels.
Thank you. Bye.
Mhm.